Hello, ladies and gentlemen, for the fourth time. We got G2 vs Schalke. Fun game. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but I've seen it. And I enjoyed it. First pick Aphelios. Very standard stuff. Here, you should be very happy. You should be very happy because Zaya is out, so there's no trade for Zaya Rakan. And I think Ezreal is still a fine and decent pick because it scales well, and it means that you're sacrificing bottom side most of the time. Red side gets first choice of jungle, which is Gragas. This is all completely fine. Lee Sin, Nautilus lock-in. Arguable. Every time I see Mickey and Hillisang both play Nautilus, they just run it down. They just run it down every time. So every time I see Mickey X Nautilus, I think it's cursed. Honestly. I thought here they just pick Trash. Why not? I think Mickey should just play Trash. Pick Trash every game. Pick Trash every game. That they go for it. Isn't Braum better here versus Gragas? The thing is, you don't want to sacrifice your bottom matchup just to pick Braum into Gragas. You have options with Ezreal to win your bottom matchups if they pick Braum. Like Braum lane phase is not the strongest, so it's tricky. I just think Thresh is. I like Thresh. I think Thresh is OP. I think Thresh is really strong. I think Thresh compensates for a lot of weakness. So that's the three. MF, Zaya, Javan ban. Very surprising that Aphelios doesn't get banned, honestly. I think if they ban Aphelios, they first pick Ezreal here. I wouldn't be surprised. Like if they ban here, then I think they might go for it. Soraka, Syndra. I thought Soraka, Syndra, Aphelios ban would be the way. LeBlanc ban is also fine. I think Abadage doesn't want to play it. And here, second wave, Braum, Thresh ban, I think also is incorrect. I don't think it's the right way. Irelia ban was kind of weird as well, honestly. I think this is pretty troll. I think never in a million years. Trash into Ezreal is kind of mad too. No, it's not. It's not. If you think like that, every support is meh against Ezreal, but it's more about like the lane. Yeah, like sure, Aatrox, like Irelia. I don't even know if Irelia is good into Aatrox. Even if you say that, like, I don't think in a million years G2 was considering picking Irelia here. You just don't. It's just not. My issue with this draft is, so second wave, Syndra LeBlanc is out, and you don't ban Cassio. I think that's a mistake here. I think second wave ban should definitely ban Cassio. And I don't think picking Ornn was correct. So for me, I think if you see Ezreal, Gragas, Rakan, Aatrox, like these are four champions that are really good into Ornn. It's just specifically against Abadage, like the only champion he ever has any success on is Cassio. So I think Cassiopeia second wave ban. I think dropping both Braum or Thresh is completely fine. I don't think Thresh Ezreal is that strong of a lane. Like, I think these bans just show me that you really want to pick Ornn, right? But I think Ornn is just the wrong pick here. Ken Woon did not play GP, he plays GP. Believe me, he plays GP. Isn't Ornn the ultimate late game insurance? Well, the issue is Ornn. You say Ornn is always good, but Ornn is not always good. Let me show you guys something. This is going to blow your mind. So let me show you this. You guys think that Ornn is that fantastic, but if you take a look at this, you're going to be very surprised. So this is worldwide, okay? And then we're going to tournament champions. League's top. Ornn. Ornn win rate has actually gone up so much. Wow. Top Ornn. 50%. Wow. Ornn win rate has gone up so much. Look at this. 70%, holy shit. 10.1. In the beginning, everyone was losing every game on Ornn. Look, 5-13. Then 10.2, everyone was smurfing on Ornn to compensate. 16-7. Nevertheless, the thing that was so exciting is not true. Fake news, guys. Fake news. I just think Ornn, if you're playing it against champions that are very mobile, like the ult loses a lot of value. Fake news, guys, about the Ornn. Cut the clip, cut the clip. Enemy analyst, yes. Enemy analyst. Cut the tape. So I just see a matchup that's good for Aatrox already. And I just thought it was odd. I guess it's not the worst thing on the planet, but I wouldn't want to play Ornn into all of this. I think Rakan was a fine pick. Rakan scales well, and you're already conceding bot lane. Like the moment you pick Ezreal into Aphelios, your bottom is conceded. The bottom is completely conceded. People really want to see Kled in action, but Kled is not that great. Why not Senna? Senna has been nerfed in 10.3, and the nerf is quite extensive. What would you have given to Cabo in that situation? He would probably ask here for maybe Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser he maybe would play. Zoe is also not bad. Zoe is a strong pick here. I think, honestly, the way I see G2's draft is they just wanted to like draft something that would be like always kind of easy to win with. Like if they play better than the enemy, they will win. That kind of deal, you know? It's like they have a strong bottom side, decent 2v2 mid, they win split later, and then Ornn is like he builds items and shit, right? Nevertheless, is this only draft review or full game analysis? Full game analysis. We're going to jump into the game. The biggest issue later on will be how do you really deal with Ezreal if he gets ahead? It's tricky. Nevertheless, we jump into the game.
In terms of the lane matchup, I think Cassio is a very good pick.
I just thought no Cassio ban second wave is kind of odd. Thresh, Braum, they just ban it, I think, for Ornn more than anything. Ornn can kill Aatrox in lane if Aatrox screws up. Yeah, if Aatrox screws up. Is Ezreal would grasp a thing? No. The resolve tree is too bad for Ezreal, and he gets a lot of beneficial things from both inspiration, sorcery, and the precision. So he would never ever do that. Okay, so we're gonna speed this up a bit because this game is quite long. So the expectation for the early game is still Abbedagge is playing with no cleanse and probably has tenacity and runes, but the hope and the expectation is that pressure around the mid lane 2v2 a lot, where Ryze can easily buy Mercury and be happy, and they have mixed damage to win the 2v2 and then spread the pressure into potentially saving Ornn from the matchup. After Ornn with Spellbook is level 6 and Lee Sin is level 6, the 2v2 is also heavily shifted in G2's favor. Bottom matchup is also good. Here G2 have a lot of good tools to create a snowball in the early game. So if Lee manages to pressure into mid, give Ryze prio, they can spread that pressure and definitely look to control the whole map. If Schalke do the correct defensive moves, they can definitely deflect these things. But it's important that Lee Sin really does everything in his power to spot Gragas, but it's trickier because you know, he needs to keep his walls for the fights. They need to keep the walls for the fights. And then this dive, we had the prior with what we talked about, and here comes the money. Let's slow down the clip a little bit, because if we look at this dive situation, they spotted the blue. They know that Gragas is not on blue, but they know he's on his way. They know he's on his way, right? Feels like Lee is not a champion after 20 minutes. No, it's not true. First time now catching you on stream. Thank you very much, Bitong69. A lot of junglers are weak when carries have a lot of gold. But I think it's not inherently the champion that is weaker. It's just that carries have way much more gold than junglers. Lee Sin, if you are a strong Lee Sin player, your teamfight presence is very high, because everyone needs to respect your kick. Lee into Cassie is not that good. No, it's not true. Like the W animation, you can easily dodge it with Lee Sin. The W miasma is a what's it called? It's a projectile, you know. So you can dodge over it, you can dash over it, you can get over it. Good Lee Sin is good into Casio. The Trash Band, the only reason, like, it's fine matchup into Nautilus, but I don't think that's a good enough reason. And then maybe just to save people from Ornold. Okay, so let's take a look at this dive. So the conditions that that has been set is, of course, Casio has TP. Even if G2 are in the position where they force Casio TP and walk away, that's good. But G2 very, very hard commits here. And it doesn't end so well. So Gragas is coming, they know it. Start the top side, they know he's coming. So they have a very little timing window here to go. And then here, bomb plating is already procced. There's the root. The problem is here, like, Lee cannot do damage. But Lee needs to W and punch. Like Jankos put knee down. I wonder if this is just too difficult because of the timing of the wave. Because the wave is giving them a lot of protection here. But the crash is at the right time, right? They're crashing the cannon wave. But Schalke is already level 2. I think just the timing of the mini wave is just what makes this so terrible. Because there is no Nautilus Q here, there's no Nautilus Q, there is no rise damage, there is no Lee Sin damage, there is no damage at all. The wave is just too well timed. Which is crazy. Because looking back at this, it's good, but then the wave makes it bad. The wave just protects them from everything. It's crazy. If Casio TP'd faster, it would have been much worse for G2. No, if she TP'd any faster, then it would have been very bad for Schalke, honestly. Because if you TP before Nautilus punches, they're going to just walk away. So these minions are MVPs, honestly. This timing of the win. What should they do has G2? Sure, in hindsight, the timing of the wave is just bad. So it's really sad because it is a good is really good. You know, here the dive situation is good, the timing is good, the mid prior is good, the champions, the conditions is good, but minion waves just block all the damage. So I wonder if, like, the cheeky way to do this, right? Like, usually the way you deal with this, right, if you have tempo and time, is that you cut the wave off. But the play should have been, instead of diving, you just look to take the blue buff. You just they know the wave is coming, but I don't think they thought about it. Of course, the wave coming is not the issue here. They know the wave is coming. Like, waves are mirrored, right? If the wave is here, the wave is here. It's easy. But they are just looking to be diving here 4v2, thinking Casio is too bad, and they look and evaluate their champions. They have hard CC that will always land, and you can chain. You know, usually you value your dive potential by, can you start? So it's like when you start, then it's cool. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I just need to do one short thing. Sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, it's like Lee and Rise don't have boots, so I think this dive is just not feasible because of the wave position. The only ridiculous thing I see is if Lee, like, let's say Lee pulls the wave, like, let's say Lee right now dashes over the wall and pulls the wave. That's the only thing I see, and that's like really deep. That's like, you know, that's like supercomputer, you know. Like, let's say here, Lee Sin rushes, W's over the wall, ward dashes, and just tanks the wave. Rise comes, and then goes. But even in this case, maybe Rakan and Ezreal can just commit on the Lee and fight him in the wave, right? So maybe it's also shit. I just think here, you just take the blue, take the Gromp, you contest the space, and you're happy with it, you know? And then you try to set up the same situation later. This is too much. The wave is just too OP. The wave is just really OP. God tier wave. And then ideally, like, if you want to dive this, let's pretend the wave is not there and you want to dive this. EW of Rise needs to be the beginning, because Rise can do his combo, walk away with phase rush, reset the turret aggro. Starting with a melee champion like Nautilus is worse. Ideally, you want ranged champions to tank at an early dive like this. So Nautilus dies. This is already very bad for the game. Already very bad for game. And then here we're getting flashbacks from the Misfits game. It's fucking Caps burning flash like this is also very bad for the game. Why didn't Mickey flash out? I'm not sure why he didn't flash out. The other question is if they dive that, if they should just kill the wave together. You know, they just kill the melees together, but the thing is, is bad. Like, if Schalke tank one spell, they'll tank Nation, whatever. It would have worked with Leona. Not so certain. G2 maintain pressure. They go for it. I don't know what Lurox was doing during all of this, why he couldn't secure his blue before, which is pretty troll in my opinion. Inex has TP. Already Sheen base. Here Abadage should have lost flash, honestly. And then Inex with the TP. This is honestly, if the game, if this was Schalke against any other team, I would say the game is over. Like, if this is Schalke against any other team of G2, I say the game is over. You know, if we do this for a second. If we do this. Fuck. If we do this, then I think game is over. That's how bad this is. G2 will still win spring. It's too quick to say. So Abadagi not burning flash, being in good state, even though... So the advantage Perks had, right, was that he burned Abadagi's TP onto bot, and then it was better. But here even Abadagi is just... Jankos is too weak. Like, this is disaster. So here, like, Lee Sin has no base. Like, here, Lee Sin is doing this with no base. He has no long swords. This is... I think here, Abadagi should not step back. Here, Jankos is dead if he plays this correct. For sure, Jankos is dead. It's just doing this gank here... it ended up being fine. Like, what the fuck is happening, bro? Oh, what the fuck? Jesus. How did he end up here? Okay. I just think Abadagi didn't know his limits there. No, Lee Sin was not the problem, guys. You don't want to pick Rek'Sai into this team. Like, if you pick Rek'Sai against this team, you're hard trolling. Picking Rek'Sai against Gragas, Cassio, Ezreal, Aatrox, I think is very bad. Sejuani was also really bad here. Lee Sin is good pick, guys. Lee Sin is not a problem. EU Nautilus. That's a good way to put it. So even throughout all of this, with like, it's kind of surprising because I don't know what Lurox has been up to. So when Lee gets shit on by Gragas early on, that's really untrue. You need to stop hitting the bong, man. That's really, really not true. Lee Sin wins Gragas really hard early. If we talk about the sense of 1v1. Because it's confusing to me what Lurox has been up to. Lurox, I don't know if it kind of looks like he DC'd, you know, because he wasn't on time for his blue after Jankos got pushed out and Nautilus died. Nautilus got to respawn, Gragas came back, and then they did it. And then here Lurox is also once again behind on tempo, and Jankos just takes his fucking red buff in front of his nose, even though his entire team is on tempo. So it's Jankos is still out jungling Lurox, big time, guys. So even though Jankos did this gank on mid lane that was very dangerous, burning his flash for Cassio flash is completely fine. But yeah, Perks level 6 against Abadagi level 7 is very rough. Lurox still level 4. I don't know what Lurox is doing all game. Lurox is legit doing nothing. He's running around doing nothing. It's very strange. It's very absurd, honestly. Finally level 5. But Jankos is getting a rift off with this. Kaz is in this meta too kill reliant. Very, very shit in team fights and just too kill reliant. Now that's a champion that's kill reliant. And that's Drake. Lurox is just doing a little bit too much running around. He's running around a bit too much. Rengar jungle, same as Kha'Zix. Same as Kha'Zix. 2 kill reliant. Champions that are kill reliant are legit champions that lose 2v2s. Like a Kayn, you know? Like they just lose 2v2s before they reach that point, you know? But the Lee Sin don't lose 2v2s, so they're not so kill reliant. You can always get something out of it. AP Shyvana is too slow. So I have a Herald. Lerox is trying to get level 6 as soon as possible, giving Ulu to Abadage. Lost on tempo doing, of course, the thing. Abadage has TP here. I think G2 definitely consider here. The only awkward thing here is that Jankos has the Herald. Because in any other case, you W, kick the Aatrox and you kill. But just because he has Herald, it becomes really, really weird, this dive. Really, really weird. And then, honestly, this is so fucking... It's such a small detail, but it's so intriguing. I just noticed it. Look at him fearing these creeps away. Look at him. Well, I think Wunder just starts tanking way too early. He just fears the creeps away. 4-head, 5-head. I think Wunder starts tanking too early. They need to start with Rise, EWQ, and then chain with Ornn, and then kill. But it's really, really awkward to do dives like this if you're playing Lee and you have no ward. Hell, Domna's having the split of his life, man. You can still look good on a bad team. With top lane, it's quite difficult. I just think here they start diving too early, and then it's definitely killable though. This is doable. They just fuck up the dive. I think the dive is good. What's your view on Ryze versus Aatrox and side lane? Cassis was saying Ryze should win for sure. I don't think he wins for sure. It's not true. It completely depends on the itemization of Aatrox. If Aatrox can buy MR, then he wins. But then if Ryze gets 3 items, he starts winning. Aatrox with Ninja Tabi might lose against Ryze, but right now, like right now, if we look at this game state, Aatrox will win split for the whole game. Why? Because of just the items. Like Aatrox has Mercury, Ryze has Mercury. Like this is Aatrox is going to win. Aatrox is going to win for sure. If Aatrox can itemize MR, he wins against Ryze. No questions. So, I think the casters were wrong. The reason Ryze went for Mercury's is because of Cassio and Gragas. For the 2v2. He has no intention this game to fight the Aatrox on side. This game with Ryze, you need to go Deathcap third. I don't remember what Ryze bought. So after the kills on Ezreal could stabilize bottom. The dives continued. Mickey with the Q. Not good enough. And the tempo is equal here. Tempo is completely equal. Jankos is not in position to herald, but it doesn't matter anyway. You don't want to use herald on the first plates. They're gonna get first turret, and G2 are doing quite fine. This is a good move. It is good to split the map and to race when you're the one with herald. And the Ornn can walk down bottom now. He's not gonna get dove. Gragas is not in position to dive. Morello is a shit purchase because you don't beat Aatrox with Morello anyway. You need to buy Death Cap. The value for Death Cap of Rise is so high because he gets AP from mana as well, right, through his passive, so it becomes even bigger. Becomes even bigger. So here, G2, good swap, Rift Herald, use tempo, caps TP. I like it, cool stuff. Jankos with the kick. Good moves from Jankos, good punish. Honestly, Abadag has no reason to contest. Gragas not in position, Raka not in position. The tempo was heavily in favor of G2 just because of what we talked about here. They took the turret, Ornn matched bottom, and all is good, So here, Abadag, big mistake here. So here, Aatrox should win split, always. Ezreal in mid should be able to stabilize, but nothing is set in stone just yet, because G2 still have a lot of strong ultimates to fight with, and looking at the game state right now, after the swap and the kill on Abadag, the game state actually looks quite fine. The only issue and the window that Schalke will have is Ezreal 2 items, and then afterwards they just need to play for 3 items of Aphelios and Rise. Aphelios also needs to consider needs to buy IE a bit earlier because of the upgrade. Honestly, Jankos played a good game. He played a good game, but I think also Lurox played a pretty bad game early. That's where we judge junglers, right? Cassiopeia was 5th pick. Cassiopeia was 5th pick, and Rise Death Cap 3rd is not a problem. Not a problem at all. I just think Nautilus pick was troll. They should have picked Thresh. They need to pick Thresh. I think Thresh is just OP. I think Thresh is a good champ. I like Thresh. Lurox is level 7. Chilling in a bush. Yeah. It worked somehow. It's crazy that this worked somehow. Let's take a look. So Aphelios is still contesting mid-wave, and Ezreal is walking up. He's going first because Nautilus is off-tempo. And then Jankos just gets popped in the forehead. The stopwatch is just so clutch here. Good stopwatch from Lurox. But I didn't realize that he has stopwatch because it looked honestly quite troll what he was doing. But it worked. Cassie had prio, Nautilus was off tempo. They went for it. Mid-price situation I think should be in favor of caps in G2. G2 should have a little advantage here, but then when Inax bases and he begins to get he starts building towards Trinity Force, then it's gonna get rough. Only Inax is being wild here. Okay. So this was a big swing in Schalke's favor. This was Lurox chilling in the bush, and then as you can see, Nautilus just came out of base. So here the passage that Caps can take into this fight is much worse than Ezreal and Rakan. That's why this becomes so terrible. And usually they would be able to one-shot Gragas, but they couldn't because of the stopwatch. So this was quite good because this was also a full wave, went into the tower that the Rise couldn't get. It was a lot of good stuff here. At this point, Aatrox should win against Ryze. What you want to do with Ryze is you just want to look to push as much as possible and pretend that Lee Sin is behind you. That's how you win this. Ryze is scaling, taking all that jazz. So the reason the game is even in gold is because of that first turret gold and the tower gold in general, and just the herald play and taking more platings for G2. Also farm wise, they are doing a bit better on Ryze. I think stopwatch is a good item because as a buy, but the fact that you get it for free is very rough. So still G2 are the ones keeping tempo. They're playing first on 2 into side. Oh, Aero down is being a bit too crazy, but it's working, I guess. Cassio's pushing top for free. She has TP. And G2 are just trying to play with the fact that they cannot match Cassio on side, and they're trying to force enough on 4-1, but they're not accomplishing anything. So here, a very, very good defense from Schalke. They have TP on Cassio. Good aggression here from Odo Unknown to the wave. The whole situation was that, G2 gave up topside, 4-1, tried to force on bottom tower hard enough, and they couldn't manage to do it. Even Perks got chunked and was forced to base, and Schalke got a lot of pry out of this because they need to catch topside. The next Drake is in 1 minute, and ideally what you do now from G2 side is that you you try to push the top of as much as possible, and then you just go for it. Wunder might be in danger, has flash. Oh. He's dead. Here also what you can do with Gragas is you can RE flash. I mean RE to deny any potential flash shenanigans. Second Rift Herald used on the mid lane. So the trade is not awful, right? Wunder getting killed for the sake of this is completely fine. This is good. Enox is still in bottom, but TPing for him is quite bad considering he has no mana. That's what he's calling right now. That's why we don't see any Ezreal TP here. Schalke committed quite heavily into bottom, and I think Dreams shouldn't have moved, because then at least they can play with Aatrox TP and pressure onto mid, but Ezreal, Rakan, everyone committed into bottom. So you can see here Schalke's inexperience kind of shines through, because you can see they made a full rotation onto Wunder. And then they don't consider, sure, they have a tempo swing, but they don't consider Rift Herald. So even here, Wunder dies, it's not the end of days for G2. It's like, people wanted to say that G2 played horrible this game, but honestly, I think they fought back quite well in a lot of the scenarios. Macro-wise, G2's decisions do look very sound. I think the Nautilus pick, Ornn pick, there's some question marks there. I think picking in Thresh and then going Ornn, maybe something like this could have been better. And then the early dives. Was rough. Well, the bottom line is Schalke made a mistake and G2 punished it, right? Like, they caught Wunder, could have killed Wunder, could have rotated back into mid lane if they didn't make a full rotation onto bottom with Ezreal and Rakan. It would have been better. Big item purchases here. Big item purchases. Schalke are very happy to fight it because 2 items, Rylai's Archangel's finished, and this is just an ocean. Ezreal finished Trinity Force and Manamune, and right now, Cassio and Ezreal are burning a lot of TPs to get into this fight, but they just want to force. They look at their items, they want to force. Is a good call, right? Ornn, same, wants to force. He has 2 upgraded items, he's happy, but the trade-off here is 2 key TPs and Ornn for a Drake. Schalke, of course, have Tempo still, and Perks kind of overstayed. I don't think Perks needed to die. It's kind of silly of him. Okay. This is kind of odd. Cassio Rylai's before Liandry's, is that correct? I think it was just... I think Liandry's is better, but keep in mind that Liandry's is more expensive than of course, Rylai's. Right. If you're lining up for a big fight and you want to get something as soon as possible, I think you just go for it. Zero own items build also. Well, he finished his own 2 items, right? Abyssal and then some fire. So here you can see clearly that Rakan and Ezreal just overcommitted. They could have stayed around mid lane. They could have been in position. Gragas just enters the jungle right away. Aatrox threatens with TP, and then they can defend mid tower, no problem. But then it becomes a very wonky defense instead. Ezreal commits all the way. Like Ezreal is taking a big bong hit here and walking into bottom side, and then it's rough. And then replay into this. So great. Another great display of Aphelios skill. Aphelios just one-shot the Nash apparently. Well, the point about Rylai's is used for kiting is very bad. The biggest reason people buy Rylai's is just to have a slow effect for the damage of Liandry. The itemization is completely dependent on the Liandry, because Cassio can kite already on her own. Like if you're good Cassio, land your Qs, you're going to kite. If you put a good Miasma, you're going to kite. Ezreal and Cassio can already kite. Rylai's is not making composition here, so it's very, very wrong to say that. Perks no upgraded item yet. It's a level. Ornn is level 13. He only has 1 upgrade. I think a lot of people don't know how Ornn works. It's okay if Ryze gets Death Cap 3rd. There's no problem. There's no rush. There's other people to upgrade, right? Black Cleaver Leeson, and then maybe the Solare of Mickey or something like this, right? IE also kind of awkward because it comes pretty late for caps, but yeah. So this was a massive cocktail, and then I think chasing onto this was a mistake. But it's okay. Schalke, the fact that they're playing bold is a good sign for future weeks. Rylai's helps in teamfight more. Well, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the damage helps more. So it's a non-argument. Maybe killing people faster is better than slowing people. The thing is, the utility doesn't bridge a gap between something else, right? It's Mickey doesn't build Locket. Well, he shouldn't. Locket sucks. Like, you should go Redemption if you want to buy something that upgrades. G2 doing G2 things. Schalke very bold on their dive attempt in mid lane. They're just trying to force before these waves begin to crash onto this Nasher. But G2 managed to farm a lot, honestly. Lurks with Predator. Good morning, Fungus or Fingus or what your name is. Okay, so Perks dies in favor of a bottom turret and burns a stopwatch. I think that's a waste. It's quite a terrible waste. The Perks burns. Because Perks just sticks around to do golems, and then what does he do? It's just, it's kind of troll. It's quite troll. So this is terrible. Just greed. Greed is not good. Okay. Now if we pause and evaluate the composition, so playing on split is gonna become worse and worse. Ezreal and Cassio control so much space that it's going to be very difficult for Ryze and Aphelios to teamfight. The issue with the whole Aphelios, I mean the Ryze pick here, is that I think you cannot pick Ryze when the enemy has Aatrox and you're planning to pick on top. This was definitely a game to play maybe Zoe, because Side lane wise, Aatrox is going to win, and now you have a severe range disparity in the fight, and I think Ezreal and Cassio are legitimately just, you know, controlling way too much space. It's very difficult for Aphelios and Ryze to do damage here. And Lee Sin and Ornn do not have enough pressure this game. Was LeBlanc open this game? No. This was a Zoe game. Ezreal and Cassio are definitely super safe. So any type of 5v5s, I think, are heavily in favor of Schalke, and split-wise, Odwamne can hold anything. Now Black Cleaver's finished. Actually, this is pretty funny because, not to put the whole situation on blast, but Perks casting OG versus Excel, this didn't happen because of this game. And it's only speculation of what's going on. But it was pretty funny. Like, I don't think... yeah. Anyway, we move on. Yeah, this is like, if it's advertised, it's planned, right? But it's understandable, right? G2 had a rough week, so I just thought it's funny. Okay. So here, if we look at the game state, like G2, obviously they just need to figure out a way to catch people, and that's always like, they need to find a way to catch people. They need to find a way to play on side better. It is a very, very hard situation because Schalke wins split and they win 5v5s. So G2 just need to outmaneuver them. And they managed to do so, right? The Ryze is pushing top. They managed to get a lot of inhibs. It is a lot of question marks. Here, I think, G2 playing a dangerous game. So here, I think Ryze really needs to buy that cap. It's very important. I think that cap is definitely the purchase. I think is way too OP. And then maybe with Death Cap, he can maybe win Aatrox, but I don't think so. He don't win Aatrox. Aatrox is Giga Fed as well. I think you need Void Death Cap to win Aatrox. Did you get told off for swearing on the broadcast, by the way? No. When do I swear? I don't swear. I think I say shit a lot, maybe. Okay, let's keep the questions relevant to the game, guys. I don't want to talk about Jizuki in the middle of this game. If he wants to win 1v1, he buys Morello, not Death Cap. No. You completely misunderstand the trade pattern then. You don't understand the trade pattern between Aatrox and Ryze if you think Morello is going to make a difference. Morello just gives him way too little damage. He doesn't give a shit about any Morello. Morello sucks here. Morello is too shit of an item. You guys are smoking a lot of kush if you think that Morello is going to make him win the 1v1 against Aatrox. It's just too weak. It's better to fucking get Executioner's Calling and just auto him once or some shit, man. Gold white. Going in on Morello. No, like, I am big Death Cap proponent. Death Cap Ryze is really OP. Like, even without Ornn, I think Death Cap Ryze is really OP. It shoots you to 600 AP. Execution is right. Sounds good here, yeah. Yeah. Like in Rabadon's this monster here, man. It stonks. Yeah. Who was saying that the Aatrox lose? Look at how much damage he did. Although as fucking Aatrox is monster fat, man. Schalke are just playing a game of chicken, right? They're just trying to catch G2, and maybe G2's best bet was to wait for that death cap and wait for that eye, because I think when G2 is trying to force things, they're also forcing errors, and Schalke can play a very simple game of just, you know... Because here, I get what G2 is trying to do, but there's no reason for them to force as hard as they're doing. They don't see anyone on top side, and the over-aggression here is a mistake. Although Omne will play the good Aatrox because he was very, very willing to go forward. You know, very, very willing to go forward. Can we revert Aatrox? The other Aatrox was really broken. The value of death cap rise when you have 2 items is so crazy high. You know, if you play AP mages, it feels fucking bad to buy death cap because the AP numbers you used to reach in the past were way higher. Now they are so low. Freddy was the only good old Aatrox? What? What? What are you talking about? What? Did you see Cabo Aatrox? Did you see Cabo Shard old Aatrox? Did you say Keen old Aatrox? Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go again. Next round. Look at the next man. Uy, 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 uy. He played very well. The Q was pretty bad there though. But that's really good items, it's not balanced. But it's the same, I reiterate, the same as before. G2, like maybe they would have higher chances of winning if they tried to do less. But Schalke just played the game of, we just ganked them here, we just ganked them here, we just ganked them here, and it worked. And then Schalke with pretty clever TP usage and a very strong draft and better itemization choices, they are, it's good. Lee overrated, it's not solo queue. No, Lee is not overrated. It's just at this point, playing Lee Sin in this composition is very difficult. And the early game was very terrible. And I thought here they would straight up end. But they could not. It was not in position. This was a good snap call. Like Aatrox is not in position, they're just looking to force a fight because it's the best opportunity they will get. So I respect this a lot. This is a very good call from G2. Like G2 are really, really trying to win the game. But the game state and the draft state makes it very difficult. Just the early Ezreal kills makes his lane so fucking safe and unwinnable. Like he had first base Sheen, and then Inax is playing a bit, bit of a cocktail game. But this Morello purchase, like this Rise itemization, man. I think if you don't buy that cap on this champion, you are not being so serious. I think Death Cap third is so unbelievably OP on Rise. So broken, man. Leandris, no, just buy Death Cap, man. It's so OP. What do you think of Doinby Rise build? I don't like it either, man. I think if you do that, you have to skip Archangel. Now he has Void Staff. Still no dank. Okay. And then now, you know, I was watching this. I was like, Perks, what are you doing with this Finnish Codex, Perks? Perks. Perks. And then, thank God, he sold it. He just bought it for slot efficiency, because it's... so thank God. But it's like 6 item rise is win condition again, you know? If 6 item rise... I think skipping Road of Ages is very bad on rise. I think it's just... you get too much AP from it. And for lane phase is also a really strong catalyst of Eons. I don't know tempo for changes. I don't know tempo for changes. I have to wait until we see the patch notes. Like Rise is going to reach a point where he starts to win. Swap the Morelos with Rabadons and Codex with Morelos. Holy shit, man! Your economy, your way of handling your economy is really insane. The way you manage economy is just you just invent gold out of nowhere, man. That's you're insane, man. Boom. So ideally what you do, right, in this matchup as Rise is you trade once, you trade through the wave. Like obviously you have no chance in the 1v1 if it starts like this. Like Rise cannot face check an Aatrox like this. Like this is just terrible, right? Perks, like Rise needs to be with the wave. He needs to trade once, run back, trade once, run back, trade once, run back. And there is a point where Rise Qs start to do 1000 damage, you know, and death cap is just way too OP. And here Perks just got caught. Obviously, Perks got caught and G2 needed to retreat earlier. Like here, they are walking up way too far after Perks got caught. They're trying to collapse, but they're just too late. He just dies. And Schalke did a lot of sneaky business, honestly. They did a lot of sneaky business, and I think G2 didn't do the right movements in order to give space to Rise. But the problem here is, of course, Perks is basing right on top of a blue ward, and this is just Aatrox territory, you know. And the vision is still on Nash, and ideally here, what you want to do is you want to have 4 guys here ready around the Nash area. Aphelios pressures this super well, because Schalke did the same thing over and over where they tried to pressure onto Perks, but Perks gets caught here. And then continuously G2 try to collapse, they walk forward and they die as well. And then there's another Nash. Aphelios TP'd bottom, Bianco's trying steal. It's very tricky when the whole enemy team is looking for you. They know your position. They want to kill you, and it's just there's no way to do anything, honestly. Here comes the money TPs. Never mind. The G2 are still making moves, right? Still making moves. I just wish, you know, there was a death cap on Rise. He didn't get caught as much as he did. And then maybe, you know, with a bit more patience, they could actually tear Schalke apart. But every gank that Schalke did onto side lane, it worked. And here, the fucking ward, man. The fucking ward that Aatrox TP'd on earlier is just the hero ward because it spots Lee Sin in this bush. This ward is just MVP. Look at this ward. And then there's the ocean. Ocean Soul. And then Rise, of course, continues his push. Going for the triple inhib. Why didn't he take the top inhib? Like, the mid inhib was pretty dead. I think it's borderline worth it to suicide for it. Because here, if he autos it and then walks away, it's better. Like, guys, it's not a good enough reason to buy QSS for Cassio ult. Getting hit by Cassio ult means that you made a mistake. You only buy defensive items on mid laners and AD carries when either your side lane matchups get shifted because of it. Like, for example, if I buy a Banshee on LeBlanc and I'm going to start winning against Cassio because of it, then it's worth it, right? Or in the case where there is guaranteed damage, right? When there's guaranteed CC. When there are things that I cannot avoid, then it's worth it to buy defensive stats. Target CC for QSS. So there are some champions that, you know, Malzahar, for example. It's very hard to get away from him pressing R on you unless you have, let's say, you know, there are some champions that have like a flash R, like a Mordekaiser, like a Malzahar, like a Skarner. That's worth it, right? Unless you're a very mobile champion, you can get away, or you have a team comp that is good into it, right? But in the case of Cassio, you're always making a mistake if it happens. Same reason Gragal Flash ER, you can QSS flash it, sure, but this is, you can also flash it, Lil Bird. You can also flash it, you can also block it with your teammates. You only, like, for example, you only buy Hexdrinker against mid laners that have guaranteed damage. You wouldn't buy Hexdrinker against an Orianna that's fed, but you would buy it against a LeBlanc, because LeBlanc damage is something you cannot get away from, right? LeBlanc damage is not something you can get away from because she'll always land her spells on you. Then it's worth it to invest into Hexdrinker, right? As your QSS buy is honestly, yeah, it's pretty troll. Here, Imagine Perks has Death Cap, he one-shots a Dagger. You basically you RE flash with Gragas. To the ward, look at that. Nice ward to kill Yankos. Rough one. People think Ornul did this damage, but it wasn't the Ornul, it's the auto from Caps. Look at auto attacks from Caps, they are doing monster damage. Philips is not balanced. And then here, like, they're face checking Cassio, right? There's nothing to do. Like, you think QSS is gonna save him here? He needs 5 QSSs. He needs a turban of QSS. Like, this is. I think Void should be last item, and I think he needed to buy Deathcap third. I think Deathcap is OP. Deathcap is OP when you have Ornn and when you have. I think if you go Archangel Roa, the whole purpose is to buy Deathcap third because you get so much fucking AP. People actually take cleanse for Cassio ult. Well, in mid it's a bit different, right? There are some champions that are like forward into you, you know, and the slow is good enough to cleanse, but buying QSS on AD carry for Cassio ult is very wrong. You're the only person in the world who's saying Deathcap and not Rabadon. Rabadon sounds so fucking ugly. I call it Rabadubia. Rabadubia or Deathcap. Deathcap sounds fucking cool, man. Deathcap. So what the fuck happened there? Let's take a look. So what the fuck happened? So Aatrox is just chilling in this bush, man. It's crazy. Like, how did we end here? It's so hard to keep track. This game is crazy. So Aatrox is chilling in this bush. He fucking one-shots Caps. Caps his flash. He flashes, but he dies anyway. He enacts the sniper and the ocean soul. And here comes the Finnish Codex. QSS is a troll buy on Ezreal. I think you cannot delay Blade of the Ruin King here. If you need QSS, like QSS means that you made like a big mistake, I think. I think QSS you can buy later, maybe 4th. It's okay. If you really want it. So here it's just honestly here just the fact that Aatrox is positioning so well is really crazy. Like G2 are very greedy with what they are trying to accomplish here, but the fact that Odamna is chilling in his bush is nuts, man. It's a really like G2 feels really safe because they see Gragas on midwave, and that's why they're going. And then afterwards here, just the base of Inax, he has TP, and then Odamna is chilling in the bush. Like, he's just chilling in the bush here, and it's Odamna is smurf this game, man. Big smurf. Played super well. This Aatrox is monstrous. But now the Ocean Soul is also like, Odamna's losing HP. They're trying to flank the Aatrox. No, they're just putting wards. I don't think they know where Aatrox is. Like, Aatrox has not shown. Like, Aatrox still not showing on the map. Not showing. Not showing. Where did they see Aatrox? They pinged him? Where? Where did they ping him? They didn't see him. What are you smoking? Where is ward? Where is the ward? Where are they pinging him? This is the vision plant. Spotting wards. Nice lies, guys. Yeah, it was the Scry's orb checking. Scry's orb pinged the words, guys. Fucking fake news. And then here, Aatrox passed. Aatrox passed, and there's vision here. There's vision here. And then they put the word here. Like, it's just genius. It's really genius. Because they feel safe. I get it, you know. You have vision here. You have vision here. Like, what the fucking odds is Aatrox is camping here? Yeah, Forgiven played 6 games, I think. The argument QSS, buying QSS to be safe is like, it's okay, but I think Blade of the Ruin King is a very good purchase this game. Like, Black Cleaver's being bought, Gargo Stoneplate, a lot of big HP numbers, Ornn will have a lot of HP, just Blade of the Ruin King is a very OP item here. Okay. So finally we have our Rabadubia. It's coming soon. Flash for Flash, Dreams is a good play. Dreams had a very good game. I'm happy. Like, he was getting a lot of flack, but his Rakan was clean, was good. Little to complain about. Oh, what the fuck? That surprised me, man. Like G2, the only thing they can do is what they're doing, right? They are sending Rise onto the side where Schalke is not playing around. Right now they have a moment in time where Schalke don't have any TPs. Rise is sitting on a good 900. So the Twin Shadows buy is a good buy here for Lorox, because it's very difficult for Schalke to face check. And the Twin Shadows actually help you with that, because Gragas is not tanky, Raka is not so tanky either. And now finally I think Rise can win split, but the issue is Ocean Soul. Like Ocean Soul is so OP for split, and it also shifts the matchup, so I don't think he wins. Just Ocean Soul is too OP. Too OP, yeah. Here Mickey went for the redemption for the upgrade, of course, to get the last one in the bank. And there's also Ingenious Hunter for Gragas, right? So he's already using Predator, and the cooldown is very small. It's nice. It's a good buy. What's your opinion on LS arguing the Triforce Cleaver on sets Aatrox? So I don't know what LS said about the topic, but a big thing to consider when you are looking at Black Cleaver and Triforce is the timing of the purchase. So Trinity Force is 1000 gold more expensive than Black Cleaver, and the build path is pretty awkward, right? The build path is pretty awkward for Trinity Force. A lot of top lane matchups get shifted at the point where one gets Black Cleaver and the other is sitting on Stinger and Phage. And those moments can be used to gain something. I think the reasoning behind, like usually, I think going Black Cleaver into tanks is good, and going Trinity Force into non-tanks is also is good. Is 700 gold more expensive? Isn't it more expensive? I think when you can actually get value from the fact that you reduce armor, I think it's pretty sound to go Black Cleaver. Because a big thing to keep in mind as well is Black Cleaver reduces armor for everyone, right? So Black Cleaver reduces armor for anyone that hits that target. It's not only for one person. So when you're playing a jungler, right? If you're playing Lee Sin, it makes sense to go Black Cleaver, because everyone involved, you're always going to fight with more numbers than just 1v1. I think for the case of Trinity Force Aatrox, I'm not too certain if your trade pattern allows you to auto enough to use the Trinity Force procs. In some cases, that is the case. I think into non-tanks, Trinity Force might make sense. But I think at the same time, you're spending a lot of gold. So keep in mind, Aatrox, what is the most common build path for people, right? It's Caulfield Warhammer, and it's also a Kindle Gem, right? So you're already delaying your items a lot, and you're getting cheap items to get CDR. This is something that we cannot forget. It's very easy to forget it in when you look at the finality of it, but when you look at the moment, so let's say I want to get CDR. I'm not going to buy a Sheen on Aatrox. It's garbage. Stinger, also garbage. The issue is the build path. The build path of Trinity Force is very wonky. The gold is more, Sheen is trash, Stinger is trash. In top lane, stat efficiency is very important. Sheen Aatrox is playable into melee quite okay. No, it's very bad. It's very weak. So when you look at Aatrox, You want to get Caulfield Warhammer, you want to get Kindled Gem, it helps your lane immensely. It just shifts a lot of matchups, right? It shifts a lot of matchups, and when you are building towards Trinity Force instead, the path to Trinity Force, you're going to be so much weaker than you want to be. And that is going to be a problem. The thing about Black Cleaver, it gives movement speed when you hit a spell. Well, the Phage proc is also on Trinity Force, so this is a wrong assessment. Just the build path is terrible to Trinity Force. To completely neglect that part of it is very. This is like, it's just not. It's not good. This is not the right way to view it. In top lane, stat efficiency is so important. It's so important to have stat efficiency. The same way the stat efficiency. So Phage, good stat efficient item. It's stat efficient in the sense that you're buying items that that is good. So let me see. So you're telling me that the Phage proc basic attacks on hit. Okay. Okay. Basic attacks. Okay. That actually makes a difference. That actually makes a difference. Huh? I thought it was like this for all. Still, I think the conversation needs to be in the context of the build path as well. And Phage Caulfield Warhammer is a very important breaking point for Aatrox, and also you delay your death stance as well, and capping CDR and building CDR is very important for Aatrox. And I think if you're sitting there on Sheen and Stinger, your champion is dog shit. You know, getting to that point is too difficult. So I think that's the argument against it. If you reach the point where you have Trinity Force, it might be nice, you know, but I'm not so certain. I think the build path is the biggest issue. What about for like Fiora? But Fiora Trinity Force is nothing new. Everyone's buying it. Fiora is nothing new. She can poke with Sheen procs and walk away, right? She can do short trades. Trinity Force Fiora is nothing new. But for Aatrox, he cannot use these items. I feel like Trinity Force Aatrox is like Luden's Echo Vladimir, you know? It's like, it might be fine when you reach it, because the proc is strong, you have AP numbers, 20% CDR, but getting there is kind of wonky, you know? Because what's the cost efficiency of Black Cleaver? The cost efficiency of Black Cleaver, total gold value. So it's quite cost efficient, right? This is without. Where is the cost efficiency? What is the cost efficiency? What did they do to this? What is the cost efficiency calculation? Expand. Total gold value. 100%. Okay. What's the case with Trinity Force? Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you very much, Resistance. God bless you, man. Let's check 24th. 24th is when a unit is called. Okay. On a manaless champion, 87, and that's without his passive. Cost efficiency is just calculating the gold value of the stats of the items. On manaless, this is a big oof. Yeah, becomes when unit is killed becomes so it's, without the calculation of Spellblade. Obviously, if you can use Spellblade, this number changes a lot. No, it's about like you spend a certain amount of gold, and the amount of gold that you spend needs to bring you back some stats, right? But the passives are not included. I think just yeah, this entire calculation is not including. Yeah, I know. This is not including it. I think just the biggest argument against it is still the build path. Just the build path is wonky. But in terms of using the item, then for sure on set is very convenient. All the best to you, Savave Serenity. For using the item on set, Trinity Force feels really good. Alright? Trinity feels really good on set when you reach it. But before you reach it, it feels a bit worse. Right? Getting to that goal, though, is very hard. You know, it's not easy. Just build Bloodthirster instead of Black Cleaver? Oh man, what are you smoking? Nevertheless, let's continue this game. Caps has TP. Caps has TP. Maybe they can pressure end. Gragas ult. There's one TP, Mickey queuing the wall. Rough. And it's all over. Yes! Yes! Yeah! Someone shock it. Dylan, yeah! High five, Dylan! Whoa! Whoa! Dylan, you son of a bitch. Contribution of Mortal Reminder on Caps. He had Mortal Reminder. Ah, this is not so great. They just want to have Executioner's Calling, I guess. Just Executioner's Calling in team fights, but thing is, at this point, I don't think it matters what he buys. I think his item purchases will not decide this game. Enemy controls too much space, he's too short range, and he's having a rough time with this team composition right here. Do you think G2 just had a bad weekend? Well, if we summarize this game, right? We had the dive on top that was really bad. We had the dive on bottom that was really, really bad. That put them behind. Ezreal was super far ahead. The fact that they have a stronger bot side just didn't matter in this game. Later, we had some item purchases that were wrong, and G2 getting caught off guard by the many TPs of Schalke. I think Schalke played, like G2 did some good moves macro-wise to be ahead in this game and to keep ahead in this game, to get Nashor. But the composition of Schalke is just difficult to deal with because Aatrox can always match on side and beat Ryze because of his item choices into Ornn. And Cassio and Ezreal will be too difficult to force 5v5 against. I think the issue is, in my eyes, is the Nautilus lock-in should have been trash. I think the second wave ban should definitely been Cassio. And then I think they should look to pick Zoe. I think definitely they should look to pick Zoe here. I think Ryze loses a lot of value when he can't split in the game, and when you are just you know, if you can't split with Ryze, his team fighting is not as good, and I think Zoe would have been the same in the early game, you know? So that's it. I still don't understand the point of switching Caps and Perks. Surely Caps is better mid lane, Perks is a better bot laner. Well, it's about, you know, expanding on something new, trying something new, keeping the game fresh for them. The game is very long, you know. The season is very long for a team like G2, so I think we should not be too worried. Thank you for watching.